Good Wednesday morning. This is the Ohio AgNet, broadcasting from the Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where Zetavo soybeans are transforming the approach to soybean seed decision-making with trailblazing innovation and quality without compromise. I'm Joel Penord with a busy broadcast schedule ahead. Stay tuned as today we'll be broadcasting from the Bowling Green tractor pulls, thanks to Nature's Alpine Solutions. Then tomorrow we'll be doing our monthly check-in at Farm Credit Mid-America. And then coming up, the Great Darke County Fair, August 21st through the 29th in Greenville. Find the full schedule of events at darkecountyfair.com. And then Monday, thanks to Nature's Alpine Solutions, we'll be at the Allen County Fair, Nature's premium liquid fertilizer since 1946. Let's jump into your farm news, delivered to you by Eberts Field Seeds, delivering proven local seed performance to Ohio farmers. It's time to start planting Eberts. Call us at 937-473-2521 or visit online at ebertsseeds.com. In Ohio news, the Ohio Cattlemen's Association raising concerns about the recently announced Tyson Foods closure of its beef processing facility in Joslyn, Illinois. Tyson says the move is part of a broader restructuring of its beef business amid historically low U.S. cattle supplies. And for Ohio producers, OCA says the closure means one fewer regional market for finished cattle. Combined with the planned closure of the JBS facility in Souderton, Pennsylvania, the two plants represent about 5,000 head of daily cattle harvest capacity. OCA President Lindsey Hall says fewer regional operations could mean longer transportation distances, higher costs, and greater market uncertainty. The organization says they're encouraging Tyson to explore alternatives, including a possible sale of the Joslyn facility to preserve processing capacity in the Eastern Corn Belt. U.S. corn exports continue to show strength as the marketing year winds down. USDA tells us corn export inspections totaled 1.91 million metric tons for the week ending August 13th. That's up from 1.76 million the previous week and just over 1 million tons during the same week last year. Since September 1st, corn inspections have reached nearly 81 million metric tons compared with 64.2 million at this point a year ago. Soybeans continue to lag, inspections down both week to week and year over year. Another potential boost for corn demand is moving through Congress. The U.S. House has approved legislation allowing year-round sales of E15 gasoline, though the measure still needs some Senate approval. Ethanol supporters say removing the summertime restriction could encourage more fuel retailers to offer E15 and expand long-term demand for corn. Retailers in parts of the Midwest currently selling E15 at around 15 cents per gallon less than regular gasoline. Trade tensions between the United States and Canada are also putting agriculture in the spotlight. U.S. officials continue to criticize Canada's restrictions on American dairy products as the two countries negotiate ahead of another potential round of tariffs. Canada's supply management system uses tariff rate quotas that limit imports before significantly higher duties take effect. We'll hear more about that in just a moment, but first, let's talk weather. Brought to you by Seed Genetics Direct, the #1 fastest growing and largest Ohio-based independent seed company. We hear from Ryan Martin.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms working their way through the Buckeye State today. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that forecast update. I don't have any major weather changes for you here. System slowly but surely sagging through. Hotbed for action here this morning, going to be in northern parts of Ohio. We probably see things taper off and take a quick break before refiring central and southern Ohio as we move through the afternoon, evening, and overnight. And I do think we see some lingering precipitation down near the far southern part of Ohio, near the Ohio River, through midday or early afternoon on Thursday. All in, all done, 1/4 to 1 inch of precipitation, 80 to 90% coverage across the Buckeye State. Everybody's dry on Friday. Then over the weekend, we've got some wraparound moisture coming around the backside of low pressure in the eastern part of the Great Lakes. I'm particularly looking at over Lake Ontario, western New York State. That's going to keep a cloud cover and on again, off again showers for the weekend. Drying down next week. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Ryan. Let's hear more about that tariff deadline that's fast approaching as Joe Everett checks in.
The United States and Canada are rapidly approaching a midnight Wednesday deadline for negotiations to avoid a 50% tariff on several Canadian imports into the United States. Cameron Castillo, an associate economist for the American Farm Bureau Federation, says the tariffs are set to be wide-ranging.
About $20 billion worth of Canadian products on everything from alcohol to furniture to dairy products and even hockey sticks. The reason for these tariffs are what the Trump administration has identified as some unfair trade barriers against American exports.
Castillo says there are some important exemptions, but the tariffs overall would be difficult for farmers and ranchers.
These tariffs would not cover critical supplies such as potash or critical minerals from Canada, but tariffs overall are generally not a good thing for the American farmer, and we could be put in a situation where, as a result of any sort of potential retaliation as a function of these 50% tariffs, the farm economy could be put into even a further pinch.
He said there is still time to come to an agreement, but discussions remain mostly private.
Right now, folks have described the talks as very delicate, intense. We don't know much about what's happening behind the scenes, but we hope that the U.S. and the Canadians can strike a deal because ultimately the imposition of 50% tariffs could have some significant effects.
Again, that was Cameron Castillo from the American Farm Bureau Federation. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Joe Everett reporting.
Thank you, Joe. You're listening to the Ohio AgNet. Stay tuned as more farm news continues up next.
What's better than getting the trusted farm news you count on from Ohio's Country Journal? Having a chance to win a brand new Arctic Ultra Tough cooler. The Ohio's Country Journal sweepstakes are back. Subscribe or renew your subscription today, and you'll be entered for a chance to win one of 2 45-quart Arctic Ultra Tough coolers. Just visit ocj.com/renew for official rules and to complete your subscription or renewal for your chance to win. Ohio's Country Journal, your source for Ohio farm news.
Life on the farm moves fast, and so does the news that matters to you. Stay ahead with the Digital Daily from Ohio AgNet and Ohio's Country Journal. Each morning, get the top ag headlines, market trends, weather updates, and the stories shaping Ohio agriculture, all delivered right to your inbox. It's free, it's easy, and it keeps you informed before the day gets going. Sign up now at ohioagnet.com for the Digital Daily and get yours first thing in the morning.
Your news and information continues here on the Ohio AgNet. A special meeting of the Ohio No-Till Council talking no-till history and the future of soil health was held yesterday at Ohio State. ATI was held yesterday at Ohio State's Worcester campus. So a timely conversation as we check in with our own Allison Kinney as she talks at advancing no-till operations.
Joining me today is Ernie Porter. He's a business development manager for Martin Till. And today we're going to be talking about the Martin Till Row Cleaner. Thanks for joining me today, Ernie.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you very much.
So can you tell me a little bit about the history and the background about the Martin Till products?
Howard Martin was farming. He farmed in Western Kentucky, and he's seen a need for something. He had heard about no-till, and he'd seen like every year his good topsoil going down the creek. So he wanted, to be able to hold the ground, hold the land, and he just basically seen that, he wanted to improve his organic, matter in his soil. So he looked into no-till and different things. And at that era, planters weren't really set up for no-till. Everyone plowed. You turned the dirt black. So he's seen a need. So he started basically doing some experimenting at home. He even put some on the front of a wheelbarrow to determine what angle that he needed. So he first did some. He made a few. This was starting about 79 or 80. And then probably then a few farmers, hey, I'd like to have those. And, he ended up going to a few shows. Then in 1981, they actually moved into town in Elkton, Kentucky, and put up the factory and then started building them. At first, he couldn't keep up. When he first started building them at home on the farm, it was just a family operation. Him and his wife and the kids, maybe a part-time help. They would build them right there, paint them upstairs, in the upper part of the shop. And, he started going to a few different shows, and then it just really kind of evolved. He started looking at some different things. What he did, he was the very first one to have a patent, on a row cleaner. A row cleaner is essentially a rake. With no-till, there's a lot of residue left on the field. We're not disking that. We're not plowing that under. So basically, a row cleaner is a rake to move the residue out of the way so the planter has a clean path. So the gauge wheels aren't running over the residue and getting uneven soil depth.
And you talked about it acting as a rake and moving that residue. And there's a lot of comments from more conventional farmers that, residue's kind of a nuisance to them, more of a trash. But for no-till, that's seen as a benefit. What's the importance of moving that residue out of the way for that incoming crop?
If you don't move that residue out of the way, the planter is going to hairpin. It's going to hairpin residue, and you're not going to get an even stand. You're not going to get even planting depth. We want to keep that residue. The residue, the wind's going to blow. So let's get that. the corn, soybeans, whatever planted, and then, Mother Nature will do its job and blow the residue back over. Let's keep like a compost over. And all that over time improves the organic matter in the soil, makes you much better soil, and holds that ground from washing.
What makes the Martin Till products different from other no-till products on the market?
We are known for our durability, our quality, high strength. We get so many compliments as far as the durability of our products. Martin is known to be a very durable product, very well-made product. So we use the best products we can buy. We're going more like into, we have a big line of closing wheels now, weight transfer systems, smart clean air control systems to be able to adjust your road cleaners from inside the cab. So Martin is a very innovative company, always looking for new products.
Well, thanks for joining me today, Ernie.
Thank you very much, Allison.
Thank you, Allison. Stay tuned. Coming up next, we're talking to markets on the Ohio AgNet, how things are shaping up overnight and where they might be headed.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start bidding today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
Are you looking for the latest in Ohio agriculture? Well, you can get it all in one place. The Ohio AgNet Podcast. Join us as we sit down with farmers, experts, and ag leaders from across the Buckeye State. From the latest news to interviews that matter, we're here to keep you informed and connected. Whether you're in the tractor, the truck, or the shop, we bring the conversation to you. Search Ohio AgNet Podcast on your favorite app or find it on Facebook or YouTube. Don't miss a minute of the Ohio AgNet Podcast. Subscribe today.
This morning's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company in Upper Sandusky, opening to receive in soybeans starting September 1st. Ohio farmers plan to get your RFID tag the week of August 24th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information, call 419-731-7100.
Grain markets finished the Tuesday session mixed. However, it was kind of disappointing when you get right down to it the way the market finished. The soybeans barely in positive territory, well off double-digit highs earlier in the day, and corn finished lower after spending a good chunk of the day choppy to a little bit higher. Wheat was down in a reset mode pretty much all day. Now, traders were talking quite a bit about the Pro Farmer Crop Tour yesterday, hoping that as it reaches the fat areas of the Midwest, so Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana, corn and soybean yield potential improves. I can tell you the numbers for Indiana probably are not going to be that much improved because of the weather that came through recently and because of the routes that the Crop Tour are taking across the Hoosier State. They're going to see some nasty stuff, and that's going to be the talking point after their release on Tuesday night through the trading day on Wednesday. Volume, though, was down from recent days yesterday as well. That made it difficult to sustain a rally. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Ryan. Let's talk about those overnight market numbers in Chicago. Markets brought to you by FSN Vision and High Soy Seed, made for this ground. Learn more at fsseed.com/Ohio. The latest numbers from the Chicago Board of Trade checking in for September corn 2 cents higher, $4.65 1/4 per bushel. December new crop corn's up 2 1/4 to $4.90 1/4. On the soybean side, up 7 cents overnight. September beans specifically 7 1/4 up to $12.08 per bushel. New crop beans up 7 3/4 to $12.24 1/2, and January bean contracts up 7 1/2 to $12.39. September wheat 2 1/2 cents higher to $6.67, and December wheat's up 2 3/4 to $6.84. On the livestock side, we're seeing live cattle for August 35 cents higher to $224.90. That was how much they closed yesterday at. September feeder cattle closed 40 cents higher to $333.35. October feeder cattle gained 98 cents to $326.33. Hogs down about $1 across the board as all things settled. October hogs down $1 even to $80.73. December lean hogs $1.60 lower to $70.93 from Tuesday's action. And milk class 3 for September checking in at 2 cents to $17.32. And farmers, a quick note, you have until August 31st to add base acres to existing farms already in the Farm Service Agency system. The change marks the first major opportunity to increase base acres in more than 20 years. FSA officials are urging eligible producers to contact their local office soon and avoid waiting until the deadline. And you can find details online today at ohioagnet.com. I'm Joel Penordwood. We thank you for tuning in to the Ohio AgNet.